Hi, I am your host, Lyanette Talley, and you are listening to Virago 24/7. Virago is Latin for female warrior, and 24/7 is for all day, every day. Virago 24/7 is a weekly podcast that brings diverse women together to talk about life and our experiences in this world. We share our views on self-love, mental health, marriage, children, friendships, and really anything that needs to be talked about. Here, you will find everyday growth, everyday healing with everyday warriors. Just give me my space to move. 'Cause it's my thoughts, what I want, and I want what I want. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. The Lord's Day.
I was just reciting this thing that my sister and I used to say when we were younger. I know I used to write it on everything. And this seems very appropriate to what we're talking about today. It goes like this. You ready, Philip?
Yes. I'm very
ready.
I
just said it to you, but I don't think you fully took my words and internalized them.
Okay. I'll do it this time.
Your face looked very what the heck are you saying? You ready?
I'm ready now.
Okay, it goes like this. Good, better, best. Never let it rest till your good is better and your better is best. Okay, from anytime I have you on, I need a camera on you.
No.
Because they won't even believe it. He was dancing to that. We need, listen, the people need to see that you can let loose.
Only with you, baby.
So welcome. But no, for real, I used to say that all the time. And for those who know it, it really is going to say a lot to what we have to speak on today about the fourth agreement. So
Which is?
Yeah. What is it, Philip?
Always do your best.
There you go. So you see how that just popped in my head?
Mm-hmm.
It applies.
How appropriate.
Okay, before we talk about the fourth agreement.
You have come up with your word for the year.
Yes. And I would love to share. And I want to thank those because I've had people that listen to the show where I was, questioning and wanting to know what my word of the year is. And so I was, they reached out to me. I had a few people reach out to me and give me their take on what my word is. And I thank you so much. And what you guys gave encompasses of, the word that I came up with. So the word is calmness. That's the word. And when I looked it up, it says the state or quality of being free from agitation or strong emotion. Now, when I read that, I'm high on emotions, right? I call it passion.
Yes.
So passion. The thing is
you're very passionate.
I can still be passionate, outward passion, right? But internally, for those who understand anxiety and all that is the stuff brewing inside that people don't see. That's what I'm talking about. I'm still going to be very expressive. So don't get me twisted. So if you see me being expressive, don't be I thought your word was calmness. No, it's calmness, internal calmness, not outward calmness. And then it says the quality of being peaceful, quiet, and without worry. Even-mindedness, inner peace of mind, state of serenity and tranquility. So these are all the things that I saw online. And I said, that is exactly what I'm searching. Serenity, tranquility, peace. So calmness encompasses all of this. And then I saw something that says, why is calmness important? Staying calm allows us to think logically and make decisions accordingly. A sense of calm offers us strength and resilience amid the chaos of life. I said, that is my word of the year.
Nice.
Are you excited for me, Phil?
I love that, baby.
Okay, what was your word again?
It was...
Intention?
Intentional.
No. Intentional.
Yeah.
Your word is intentional and mine is calmness. Mm-hmm. Let's see how we do this year, Philip. And you know what? We're going to do our best, right?
There you go.
We're going to do our best.
I love that segue.
All right. So the first agreement, let's just
Be impeccable with your word.
Yes, let's do a rundown. So be impeccable with your word.
Mm-hmm. Second agreement is don't take things personal.
And third was don't make assumptions.
Exactly.
So the fourth is do your best.
Mm-hmm. Do your best. Fourth agreement is about the action of the first three. Always do your best. But keep in mind that your best is never going to be the same from one moment to the next. So what do you think that means?
Well, I mean, I feel like if we're aware of what we're doing, what we're saying, who we are, sometimes we're going to slip, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes we're going to get caught up in the moment and not do those things correctly. But if we're aware, we're going to try to do our best every time. And if we don't, because we're human,
it's okay.
It's okay. You just wake up the next morning and you try again. I mean, we're going to slip. We're not going to be perfect. Like these things, we know as humans what the right thing to do and what the wrong thing to do are. The hard part is actually doing them. But if we're aware of what needs to be done, and like with me, like I know when I'm going to be an a-hole. Like I'm very self-aware, and I think there's a lot of people that are not. So like if I am being an a-hole and you call me out on it, I'm going to be like, yeah. Like it's what happens is a lot of people are like, no, that's not me. That's not what I. But if you're honest with yourself, you know that you're not doing your best.
Right.
So acknowledging that you're not doing your best, acknowledge that you were an a-hole, acknowledge, you know what I'm saying? Like be more self-aware. And I think that's what is lacking in this world is like people not being self-aware. Oh my gosh. Speaking of not being self-aware, I've been like, okay, I am a thinker. I think all the time. And so I watch what I call my trash TV. But is it trash? I told Philip the other day, I was like, I feel like I'm analyzing people. Like I'm getting to know people. Yes, it's mindless television because I don't have to think about it. So it's my housewives. I don't watch all of them, but there's most of them I do watch. There's Sister Wives. There's Married at First Sight. Like I watch these shows, but it's really like, I really like to see how people, what makes them tick. Why people lie, because a lot of the times it's like they get called out on their BS, but then they backtrack and they don't own their stuff. And I'm just like talking to the TV, like why aren't you owning your stuff? Just like be. And then the ones that do own their stuff and speak their mind, they're the quote unquote villains. Like, how dare you? How dare she say what others aren't saying? So it's very fascinating to watch these things. And most people are just not self-aware or not willing to stand up for what they have said, like if I say something about you, Philip, and you come to me and be like, hey, I heard you said this. A lot of times they're like trying to backtrack. No, I said that. Let's talk about it. Like, yeah, I
blame
said that.
The person that
yeah,
told
like,
you.
Yes.
I can't believe they were so nosy and they shared that with you.
That was none of their business. So I'm just like looking at these people and I'm, because I wanted to be a psychologist back in the day when I went into college. That's what I thought I wanted to do because I'm just fascinated by people.
Right.
And I don't know where that came from. And I think when I was younger, it was like, oh, I just want to be that person. And I wanted to be more like a child psychologist so that I can have people talk to me and I could be that person that listens and it is there for someone.
Right.
But then I decided I'm too emotional for that. And I don't need to, like, I just hold on to other people's. Yeah, I just take it home. I don't know how to separate. So I was like, yeah, no, I need to go in a different direction. But I'm just fascinated by those people. And it's just like, just do your best. Like, be impeccable with your word. Don't assume. Don't take things personally. And these people in all these shows, that's exactly what they do.
They violate all four of those.
They do. And I'm like, oh my gosh, do they even know? But I guess as humans, we just get caught up in the moment.
True. And
we just want to, I don't know.
Because I think some people also confuse doing your best with
being perfect. Yeah.
And that's nothing. I mean, no one can do that.
Yeah.
So doing your best just means, in any circumstance in your life, Doesn't matter if you're sick or you're tired. Those are just excuses. If you always do your best, there's no way you can judge yourself. And if you don't judge yourself, there's no way you're going to suffer from guilt, blame, and self-punishment. And that's like all the other agreements. None of these are this complicated epiphany, but they are all fairly simple concepts, but they're all very hard.
They are. To
be consistent with. In doing that, like that's what I say, this one ties into all the other three. Do your best at keeping your word. Do your best at not taking things personal. Do your best at not making assumptions. Because as you do those things, everything else in your life is going to be better.
Yeah.
So I think this is just pretty awesome.
It's a quick, simple chapter. There's not a whole lot that we need to elaborate on. It's just making sure that we don't beat ourselves up. When we aren't perfect and when we do not execute things in the way that we thought we should. And it's okay. Philip and I are watching this show, which has been out for a while, but we're just now, learning about it. It's called The Chosen, and it's about Jesus and his disciples. And it's one of those shows where, if you've watched anything about Jesus or really? God, or his disciples or God or anything related to that, they're always very like serious and kind of impersonal. Like you don't really, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but with this show, it humanizes Jesus. It humanizes the disciples, and you really get a glimpse of like who they really were. And there was one scene that we just watched, and I was just bawling. Mary Magdalene she's with Jesus and the disciples, and when you watch it, she had demons, and Jesus released her of those demons. And then she felt like she wasn't worthy. So she went back and disappeared for a few days and went back thinking that she's not worthy. Right. And he brings her back. He has two of the disciples go, find her, and she comes back and she just doesn't feel worthy of him, of being healed. And she's like, I just feel like you healed me. And then I just went and messed it up. And now I can't face you. And he looks at her and she's just bawling. And this is what I feel like we all feel at some point in our lives. We feel like, okay, we're finding our path and we're finding our groove. And then something happens where we quote unquote slip or go back to our old habits. And then we don't want to go further. We're just like, okay, I messed up. So that's it. And so Jesus looks at her and says,
did you think you wouldn't ever make another mistake?
Yeah.
You're going to be without sin?
Yeah. You think that once you were redeemed, then that was it? Like, you're perfect forever? He's like, that's not, we're paraphrasing, but pretty much he's like, that's not realistic. And he looked at her, he's like, you're forgiven. It's over. It's done. Basically, like, just stop. Like, we're done. Let's move on. And so that's what I feel. And it's interesting that we're talking about this today. And we just watched that episode.
True.
Where that's what I feel we need to like realize as humans. Like we beat ourselves up and we feel like, okay, we fell off the wagon. Like if you're on a diet and you eat something that you shouldn't, it's like, okay, well, that went to shit. Now. So yeah. Or like if you're trying not to drink and you're an alcoholic and it's like, oh, I drank. So now I'm going to return to be like, it's like we beat ourselves up. Yeah. We beat ourselves up. We feel like, okay, I fell off the wagon. So what's the point? No, he says, you are forgiven. It's over with. That's exactly what he says. Like, it's over with. So that was very profound for me. And that's what I feel like this chapter is. Just do your best. And if one day you aren't fully your best because of whatever circumstances surrounding that event or whatever, tomorrow's a new day. And that's what I took from this chapter. And that's what I want to do with with the rest of my life is just do my best. And when I don't, just ask for forgiveness from that person or whoever or
yourself.
or myself, and just move on and realize, I'm self-aware. I see it. And that's the thing, is just being self-aware and understanding when we fail and when we fall short and accepting it. Yeah.
Because it's funny that you say that. I turned to this page in the book. It says, when you do your best, you learn to accept yourself. Mm-hmm. But you have to be aware and learn from your mistakes. Just like you said, learning from your mistakes means you practice, look honestly at the results, and keep practicing. Mm-hmm. This increases your awareness.
When you keep practicing, yeah.
What you were saying, being self-aware. Mm-hmm. So, I just think that is just, we get so caught up in what we did in the past or things that we are going through, but you have to stay in the moment, enjoy what's happening right now. So, a lot of times we think about what's happened, worry about the past, worry about the future, but you just got to stay in the moment, stay in the present. Mm-hmm. And if you make a mistake, it's okay. No one's going to be perfect. As long as you're doing your best, you can only be you when you do your best. When you don't do your best, you're denying yourself the right to be you. What do you think of that?
Okay, repeat that.
You can only be you when you do your best. When you don't do your best, you're denying yourself the right to be you.
Yeah, it's just what I feel like what I just said. A lot of people don't try to do their best, or for some reason they quote unquote think they are, but we know deep down. I think people think that they can BS themselves, BS other people, but deep down we know if we're not doing something that's doing our best.
True.
And I think that's where people that's where lying comes from, I think. Well, that's one of my pet peeves is lying. Just own your shit. If something happened, just own it. And I think what happens, people don't want to own their stuff, or they feel like, oh, I lacked in that situation and I didn't do my best in that situation. And so I have to cover it up by lying so that people perceive me as me doing my best. It's just this vicious cycle.
Or have an excuse for why they didn't do their best.
And I agree with that. I'm not saying I've never lied. I know I've lied when I was little, but as I've gotten older, I'm like, what's the point of lying? If I don't want something out there, I just don't say it, or I know who to say it to. So if I don't want this person to go talking smack about me to this person because I said something, you have to know to own it. And when you say something out loud, expect that it's going to go to that person or to something, that it's going to be out into the universe when you say something out loud. Own it. And what happens is oh shoot, people aren't catching me out. They're not catching me at my best. So now I got to cover it up. I got to lie about it. I got to,
Or have a reason why you're not at your best.
That irritates the crap
and
out
it's
of
never,
me.
The problem is it's never what you could have done to make it better.
No, it's
always what other people did
to make you do or say. Exactly.
Or, these circumstances or the environment or their past is the reason why they didn't do their best. Mm-hmm. No one just owns it and says, you know what? I didn't do my best today.
Yeah.
I didn't do my best with this particular project. Mm-hmm. And this is why.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't do it.
Yeah. There's no excuses. Tired. Yes. I
got complacent. And, it's better when you own that. If I hear from my team members, hey, why didn't you do this verification of insurance? Why didn't you do this reminder? Or why didn't you do this certain thing you're supposed to do? I would accept it more when people say, you know what? I just made a mistake. Mm-hmm. I get it. But if you start making excuses for it,
and that's what most people do,
or you don't own up to your mistake. Mm-hmm. I already know that you did it. Mm-hmm. I didn't come to you out of, happenstance.
Yeah.
Or just, out the blue. I'm approaching you for a reason. Just own it. And you'll be okay. We'll keep it moving.
I don't know. I think you admire people. I know me. I admire someone who owns it and accepts responsibility versus
you can move
the
forward
excuses.
with that person.
Yeah.
You can actually trust them.
Yes.
That, okay, they made a mistake. They recognize it's a mistake. And a lot of times if they do that, it minimizes those same mistakes moving forward. But, doing your best it's good in theory, just like all these other agreements. But I think if we really think about it and focus on those 4 agreements, it just makes life so much easier. You'll have that calm. You'll have that peace. You'll be intentional with what you're doing. And
it's like your house is in order.
Yes.
Like there's not.
Doesn't mean it's perfect.
No.
Doesn't mean you're not going to have problems or things. But yeah, your house is in order. Everything is going the way it should, whether it's great or not.
Yeah. Yeah. It's when you're not doing your best and you know it, but you want the outside world to see you as like this perfect specimen. And then there's lies on top of lies, on top of lies, on top of lies. And then you forget what lie you've told or what story you've told to what person, To
keep up with it.
Yeah, to keep up with it. That has to be exhausting. And for me personally, once I've learned just to own my stuff, and yeah, I said that, let's talk about it. And that's another thing that I've noticed on the housewives, the ones that there's some that own their stuff. So they'd be like, well, what about when you did such and such and such? Like they're trying to catch them in the corner. They're like, yeah, I said that. Yeah, I did that. And then the person that's accusing is like, oh shit, because they're not the person that would own their stuff. So they're shocked. They're not used to that. They're ready to catch that person in a lie, but it's like, yeah, no, I said that. Yeah, no, that happened. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that happened. And they don't even know what to do. And I'm just like, yup. That would be me. That would be me if I was on a show like that. They would not know what to do because it's like, just own your stuff and your house is in order and your house is, yeah, like you don't have to worry.
No, there's no need to.
No. I feel sorry for those who have to constantly just continue these lies and these stories. And that has to be exhausting and that has to be very taxing on your soul and on your spirit. And there's probably like no rest in your soul. You're just constantly going because you're not doing your best and you're not keeping your word and you're not, you're assuming and you're taking things personally. And yeah, there's so many people on this earth. I'm sure we know people within our family, within our friend group. We're probably married to that person or they might be our ex or, and so we know these people in our lives. And I'm sure that we're talking about it right now and you can just boom, there's that person just pops in your head right now. Mm-hmm. That person who doesn't do any of these things to their, at their best. And, you don't respect those people. It's hard to respect them. It's hard to have a relationship with them. It's hard to interact with them because they're BS and you can't trust them.
It's hard to trust them.
Yeah,
that's true.
And for me, that's the biggest thing. So I've had to distance myself from anyone that I feel that I can't trust. And if they are around, I really watch what I say. And I really watch what I share because I know that it's going to get into the wrong hands. And
those people are going to assume, and those people are going to take things personal. Mm-hmm. And the problem with that, though, like we said before, when you assume, it's never anything positive.
Yeah.
When you take things personal, you obviously are hurt or sad or mad by it. So none of those things are fruitful.
No.
None of it. But it's so easy to do them. And it's so hard. I know I mentioned to a couple of guys that I mentor, and we were talking about this book a couple of days ago, and I told them the 4 agreements. The first one, everyone kind of says, oh, be impeccable with your word. Most people can do that. And then, do your best. Everyone thinks that they're doing their best when they're doing something. But it's really hard to not take things personal. It's really hard not to make assumptions. And one of the guys said to me, he said, but what if it is personal when someone does something?
Yeah.
And that's going to happen. But this is a part of it.
And we talked about that. Sometimes it is personal and sometimes people do say stuff. But if this is the thing. It's not
them
personal.
problem.
Exactly. It's a them problem. If you know who you are, you're not really going to take what they're saying as personal, even if that person's intention is to attack you.
Right. Because they're not being impeccable with their word.
Exactly. That's what, I mean, we've already addressed that. So yes, he's right. Most of the time it is personal. But if you're sure of who you are and you're following these agreements, what that person says should have little weight on who you are and who you are internally as a person. If you're living the best way that you feel fit,
True.
you know, and I always go back to that. We know deep down
when you're doing something wrong.
Some of us are just in more denial than others. So, yeah.
So this is something from the book. It's like 3 more things I want to put out there and we can talk about it. But it says, practice makes the master. By doing your best, you become a master. Everything you have learned, you learn through repetition. You learn to write, to drive, even to walk by repetition. You're a master of speaking your language because you practice. Action is what makes the difference. And I found that great because I think a lot of times we think things are going to come easy for you. Things are going to be, if it doesn't come easy, then why should we do it? And, you know, if it came easy for everyone,
we'd all be doing it.
We'd all be doing it. So it does take time. It does take you being intentional, because over time, then it does become easier. At the beginning, none of these agreements are easy to do, but over time and practicing them, doing your best, they will eventually do that. And then the second one that it says in the book, do not be concerned about the future. Keep your intention on today. Stay in the present moment. Just live one day at a time. Always do your best to keep these agreements, and soon it will be easy for you. Like I mentioned, today is the beginning, as they say it, of a new dream. So what do you think about that?
I love that last one that you read because it's really hard sometimes to stay in the moment. And it's always, you know, that's where worry and anxiety comes from, is not knowing what's coming. And so and so you come up with like these versions in your head. It's just like, gosh, calm down. And that's what I have to tell myself daily. And it's a pep talk that I do with myself internally. I just like, Lyanette, like if something is bothering me that is it's not very significant or it has nothing to do with this moment, I have to like tell myself, let it go. Like release it. That's not important right now. And going back to practicing, I've done that over time, over the past few years. And it's so easy just to let it go. And, you know, I've been meditating as well. And that's one thing that I do this, you know, the Calm app and the meditation. And a lot of the times it's like, yeah, our brains are going to have thoughts, but you have to learn to say bye to them. Like just, they enter and then just release them. And so that's what meditation teaches you.
And not dwell on that thought.
Exactly. It's like, and don't beat yourself up that you're thinking these thoughts, because people think, oh, meditation. Well, that's what I used to think, that your brain is blank.
Right.
Which I think the goal is just find some kind of like peace and calmness. And then when the thoughts enter, you just let them go by. And so, man, it's working with the practice that I've been doing with meditating and with just telling myself, let it go. It really works. And I feel lighter. I really feel, I don't feel weighed down by a lot of things. And I used to feel so heavy with anger and with sadness. Those were my biggest emotions within me. You know, the outside Lyanette is like, ha, 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 happy, happy. Let's party, you know, let's hang out. You know, let's have fun. But deep down, it was anger and sadness, what was driving me. And it weighs you down, man. And once you learn to just let that go, because there's nothing that you can do about it. And if you can, this is what you've taught me. If it's something that you can change, then change it. But if it's out of your control,
let it go.
You got to let it go. And so that's what I've been learning. And I feel so much
especially in the past.
Lighter.
No one has a time machine.
Yeah.
We can't
That's
go back
that was the hardest for me, is the past. Yeah.
Can't go back and change that. No one can. And like you said many times, your past and the things you went through has made you who you are now. Mm-hmm. So some of that can't be all bad, even though it was a bad experience. Mm-hmm. But if you never went through that bad experience, then you wouldn't have changed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how change comes about.
And then you don't have a testimony.
True.
You know, if everything's all roses in your life, why do better? Or you don't even see, like, I can go back and see how far I've come and where God has brought me, mm-hmm. where I was, mm-hmm. And where I am now. And you can see, wow, like there has been something there pulling me out. And there has been, I don't know, it's hard to explain. I know it sounds like very like mumble jumble, you know, religious, spiritual crap, but it's not to me.
Right.
It's very real. And as humans, we try to do things on our own. So I feel like these agreements go hand in hand with having a faith.
Faith. Yes, definitely. And you can't relate to other people if you haven't gone through certain things. So there's certain things I just can't relate to.
Yeah.
That you can with other people. So I can't have that connection or that, maybe sometimes that sympathy or empathy with them. But it is, you know, and that's the thing I like about this book. It does mention God. Mm-hmm. And one of the other things it says, it doesn't matter whether you pray to Buddha, to God. It seems like in my mind, there's always this one being in whatever religion. And yeah, you might have a different name for it, but still this one being. Everyone wants to go to a better place, nirvana, heaven. Mm-hmm. You know, it's always that goal. But I think these 4 agreements kind of tie those things in as humans and how we're, you know, living this life and going through life. And, you know, we're supposed to love each other, care about each other, do the best for each other. And when there's mess going on, when there's wars and there's violence, you know, right now we're going through all this craziness that just happened in Memphis. That's none of these things. You know, that's none of the 4 agreements. You're just breaking all those agreements. Mm-hmm. And none of that's good. But I do like this last thing that the book says. Let me find it here in a second, because it ties all the agreements together. Because it talks about, it says here, the first 3 agreements will only work if you do your best. So this is almost like the most important agreement, because it says the first 3 agreements will only work if you do your best. Don't expect that you will always be able to be impeccable with your word. Your routine habits are too strong and firmly rooted in your mind, but you can do your best. Don't expect that you will never take anything personally. Just do your best. Don't expect that you will never make another assumption, but you can certainly do your best. By doing your best, the habits of misusing your word, taking things personally, making assumptions will become weaker and less frequent with time. And you don't need to judge yourself, feel guilty, or punish yourself if you cannot keep these agreements, which I think is critical. Just like you said when it came to Mary, you can't punish yourself for making a mistake. You can't punish yourself if, I didn't make this agreement. I wasn't impeccable with my word today, or I took that personally what that person said, and now I'm just a horrible person. I mean, that's just self-destructive. Mm-hmm. And never something that you can't live up to being trying to be perfect. And it's okay.
Yeah.
If you're not.
Well, this has been fun doing this with you and reading this book and analyzing it and putting our 2 cents in. It's been fun doing this with you.
It's been awesome.
I would love to have you back on with something else, because it's fun. It's fun talking to you, Philip. But I want to share before we leave, your sister, lover Kaylin, she loves to give feedback on the shows, and so she texted me this week and she said this is a quote that may go hand in hand with the 4th agreement. So I would like to share, and it's by She said it's the first African-American economist, Sadie Tanner Moselle. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Moselle Alexander. So it says, don't let anything stop you. There will be times when you'll be disappointed, but you can't stop. Make yourself the best that you can make out of what you are. The very best.
Love that.
And so I thought I would share that because it's fitting to what we're talking about. So thank you, Carolyn, and thank you, Philip. This has been fun.
Thank you, lover.
Until next time.
Till next time.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Virago 24/7. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and please give us 5-star ratings. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Virago24_7 and on Facebook at Virago24/7. And just connect with us and share your story. We'd love to hear from you.
Just give me my space to